Hi, brother. How are you?
I'm in my COVID Jeremiah Johnson.
I see that. I've never seen you, with the full-on deal.
Yeah, well, I told.
Are you sure that's you under there?
What's that?
Are you sure that's you under there?
Oh, it's me. I just told everyone I'm not dyeing my hair, and I'm not shaving until I can play a show again.
All right.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's fucking nonsense. Going crazy.
It is.
I don't mind the beard at all, but I hate the reason that it's got to grow out so long. So I hope it's over sooner than later too.
Oh, look, my wife, Monique, hates the beard. Everyone's like, dude, why don't you shave that? I said, well, as soon as they tell me I can go play shows, off it'll come.
So, I had said at one point I wasn't going to cut my hair until then, but I couldn't stand it. So I actually just came from getting a trim.
Yeah, mine's really long. It's to the middle of my back. It's very
nice.
Gray.
That's not supposed to happen to guys as young as you.
Yeah, well, I just figured if I was going to retire, that this is how I was going out.
Well, you know what they say about gray: better gray than gone.
That's true. I mean, I know some friends of mine that have let their hair go gray, and they look great. They look better.
Yeah.
So,
well, I take a full head of hair, full head of gray hair any day.
That's good, man.
See?
There we go.
Well, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Daddy.
Are we on it?
We're on it. We're recording.
All right.
You want to get started, Danny? Because I definitely have lots of questions too.
You know what? Why don't you pick out a couple of your cherries, Sarah? Brian and I know each other pretty good, but it'd be kind of fun to hear what you got to ask.
Well, you know what? This can tie into both.
Don't worry. I'll chirp in.
No, I was going to say this is actually can tie in with both of you, because what you guys have in common right now is that you're both officially authors and you've written books. So, Brian, talk about Son of a Milkman a little bit for us.
Love the title.
Son of the Milkman is my memoirs of my life, basically. And Son of the Milkman, the title is because I am the illegitimate son of the milkman.
That's amazing.
And, it was always a joke, right? And,
yep.
Look, I was born in 1962. It was kind of a taboo subject if you were like a kid that was born out of, wedlock. And I always kind of just took it with a grain of salt and like comedy, It's like, well, hey, everyone has shit in their lives that comes up.
Yes, we do.
We all have skeletons and we all carry a lot of baggage. Let's just be honest, right? I don't care who you are. And so when it got to time of me putting out this book and thinking of a title, I just went, Son of a Milkman, because I am the son of a milkman.
That's awesome. It is one of the best titles I have ever heard.
Yeah, it's I laugh every time someone asks me about it.
That's awesome.
I think it's great.
And the funny thing about it is while my dad, the milkman, was over like hitting on my mom and stuff, my brothers were out robbing his milk truck.
That's the best.
And so
that's the best.
He was getting over on but actually my brothers got over on him.
So and the milkman,
the youngest. Go ahead.
Sorry.
The milkman always had the greatest containers of glass chocolate milk.
Absolutely.
Remember?
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of expensive. And my family, they never ordered the chocolate milk. If I said, hey, let's get one of those quarts of chocolate milk, because it was so good. And my dad would pull out the Nestle's Quick powder and go, you got chocolate milk right here. Which was good. But
look, I grew up on Nestle's Quick, as well.
Something about store-bought chocolate milk.
By the time I came around, he was out. He blew the coop, and that was the end of the glass bottled milk at the Wheat House.
Oh, bummer. He could have at least stuck around and given you your family some chocolate milk.
Well, I think he did for the few months he was around.
Okay, got it. So, Brian, you're the youngest of 6.
Yes, sir.
Any sisters or all
Yeah, I have
brothers?
one sister. I have a sister, Sherry, and she's number 2 on the line. It goes Buddy, Sherry, Mike, David, Tim, and me.
So who in that line was the one that first played you the Beatles?
My brother Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, the drummer. He's a drummer, and he had a drum set. So when I was a little kid, he had bands set up in the living room, jamming like kids do, or in the garage. And I snuck into his bedroom, and I had one of those little kid record players. You played those records like Johnny Comes Marching Home and Supercalifragilistic. I'm 4.5 years old, in between 4 and 5, and I grabbed Revolver because I think, hey, Falfy, be quiet. Because of the artwork. It looked like a drawing. I went, oh, wow, this is probably some cool kids record or, whatever. I didn't know. And I put it on and I tried to play track 1, which was Taxman, but it was skipping. So I got it to track 2, which was Eleanor Rigby. And as soon as I heard that voice and that sound, Danny can tell you I'm a Paul McCartney freak. He's took care of me at several Paul McCartney shows over the years. And I'm of the opinion on the 8th day, God created Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever met him?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, it's fantastic. First time I met him, I say it was a gift from God because I was in London. We were doing our first album. We were over there doing press on our first album. And I just happened to be that day at Geffen Records, which was around the corner from MPL, which I didn't know at that time. I happened to walk through Soho Park on my way back to the hotel, which was where his office is. I didn't know at the time. And I looked up in this building, which was his office. And on the 3rd floor, he was there smoking, looking out at the park. And I went, whoa, fuck, Frank, there's Paul McCartney. I'm going to go look
crazy.
at the guitars. I said, you go look at the guitars. I'm going to stay here. I bet he comes down. And he came down, and I talked to him for about 10 minutes out front. And he told me, I told him I was there playing at the Marquee and had a new band. And he was like, good luck. Everyone starts there. And this, whole thing. So he was great.
Was he? It sounds like he's everything you would hope that he would have been when you met him.
He was. When you see him on an interview or whatever, that guy that you see, know, he's always so nice. That's how he was. So it was really cool.
That's awesome to hear. How was it just going back pre-COVID to record at Abbey Road?
That was one of the last things we did, and that was pretty cool because we did We Can Work It Out, which we did on the original 5-man acoustic jam. But the reason we did it there was because that was recorded there. So I'm sitting there with my Hofner bass, singing We Can Work It Out, somewhere in the proximity to where Paul McCartney was in 1965 doing We Can Work It Out. So that was a pretty big high.
Yeah, I bet it was. That's amazing. And great recording too, by the way. Great job.
Oh, thanks. That was the guys up in the control room.
Yeah, well,
we play. We play good. I got to say, one of the things I'm most proud of is that the band I'm in plays very well still to this day.
Yeah, you guys sound fantastic, and that recording is just killer. What do the engineers say?
That's live. That's as live as it gets. That's what we sound like on any given day.
It's amazing. What do the engineers say? Garbage in, garbage out. But you're not putting any garbage in. You didn't put any garbage in at Abbey Road.
When we do, you never hear it.
Okay, fair enough.
We have good filters.
All right. Danny, I want to hear your thoughts, my friend.
Well, Brian and I run some pretty parallel lines. I think we're about the same age. We're pretty close.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old. I'm probably older than you. 54. No, you're 62. We're the same generation almost. Gotcha. See, oh, that's right. You're Leslie's age. She's just behind you. I'm 66 now.
Yeah. No, I just turned 58.
So
well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had some very great similarities. I love the Beatles from the time that I heard them. My brother was instrumental in me hearing them the first time, and then I learned how to play drums off of Beatles records when my brother forced me into buying half of his Ludwig kit from him, which meant he still owned it 100% if he ever sold it, which he did. And I never even got my split off of that. So I learned about negotiations
so your brothers are like
the hard way. Yeah, that's what older brothers are for. Yeah, I come from 6 kids, 1 daughter, 1 sister, and I was number 3 though. I wasn't at the end. So the Beatles was the one thing, and the other thing is Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah.
Now you know with Led Zeppelin, I could tell you a great story. My daughter went to Sonoma State for 3 years. Beautiful campus, nice school, beautiful area, of course. And I went up there to see her one day, and I was staying for a couple of days just for a nice visit. And she goes, "Can we go out to dinner?" She goes, "I know a great place." I said, "Okay." And we're on our way to see that movie, a Hugh Grant movie, where he's a washed-up rock star. And she sits me down at dinner and she says, "Why don't you have a Jack Daniels?" She's never done that before. I said, "Okay, I have a Jack Daniels." She goes, "Want another one?" And I go, "What's going on here?" And I'm thinking, oh, dads, they think the worst stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to hear something, one of those obvious ones, right? So I'm not going to even say it. Yep. I said, "What's going on here? You've never force-fed me booze before. Are you trying to tell me something?" She goes, "You know that guy I've been going with?" Now, yeah. He doesn't like Led Zeppelin.
Oh, are you serious?
And I didn't say, "Is that all?" No. I looked at her like she had just shot at me, right? And I said, "So you dumped him, right?" She goes, "I'm getting ready." She goes, "I was getting ready to, but then something else came up." I said, "What?" "He hates the Beatles."
Oh no.
I go, "Danielle, you're hanging out with a guy with no common sense. And you need to," I said, "why don't you just save yourself the time when you're going out with somebody that it's mandatory that there's a thumbs up for both of those." And she goes, oh, as she's talking, she goes, "And he doesn't like Hendrix." Game changer. You're out. And she broke
3
up with him
strikes.
immediately. She goes, "I want to make sure. She goes, "I wanted to know if you were kidding." I said, "No, I'm not kidding. I'm telling you that if somebody doesn't like those 3, all of them, it's a no-brainer. Dump them."
Yeah. You got to get rid of them.
Well, you're going to be with somebody that's from a totally wrong mindset for you.
Right.
It's one thing. It's one thing if you eat meat and she doesn't, which is always bad.
Right.
That hardly ever works out either. But with music, we're all intensely musical, and that's going to be a game changer for me. So she did dump him, by the way. So,
hey, it's better that than 2 pink lines.
Now I want to tell Brian. I'll bet Brian's got some great Jimmy Page stories, and I'm sure you can tell one that's not out of school or too personal. But I'll tell you a funny one. I went to Jeff Beck's wedding reception in England in 2005. It was the summer that Cream came back and played those shows, which I got to see.
Uh-huh.
And Jeff invited us to his wedding reception, and we were the first ones there. We had a great time. We got to hang out, and Jeff and I got to spend a lot of great time together. And Jimmy Page shows up. So Jeff comes over to me and goes, "You go over and tell that Page wanker that he better get on stage and play with me." Because he put together a little stage. He had a couple of guys from Savoy Brown there, of course.
Wasn't Paul McCartney there too?
Paul was there, and Paul and Jeff. And later in the night, the music started happening. One guy started singing. He was fantastic. What was his name? Mike. Anyway, he was playing, and the other guys were playing, and then Paul got up, and then Jeff got up, and Jeff's looking at me, and he goes. So I go up behind Jimmy, and I stick my fingers in his back, and I go, "Put your ass on stage or you're dead." And he turns around and goes, "Danny, Well, you don't have to threaten me. He goes, Jeff plays these guitars, doesn't he? He shaves the necks. I can't possibly play. Why didn't he ask before tonight? I go, I want to walk you to the stage right now, Jim. He goes, I'm not getting out of this, am I? And the three of them played together, and it was lightning. It was thunder. It was lightning bolts all over the place. And all they did was old stuff. Kansas City. Train kept rolling. Kansas City. High Ho Silver Lining. And it was, I'll tell you, I took a lot of pictures, and I didn't dare publish one of them. I never let them out. I was dying to. I show them to people once in a while if I happen to have it handy. But Jeff is such a private guy, he doesn't even like to have his picture taken. But that was an insane night. And he comes off just like after every show. How was it? Was it okay? Oh, it was you and Paul and Jimmy. Yeah, it was all right. Really?
Yeah, you got to start a band. Yeah,
exactly.
The same way.
Exactly.
The same way the pictures I have of me and Jimmy. I have a great one of me and him in a subway with Ross, and I just didn't put it in the book because it's not the kind of relationship me and him have. It's a very private thing, and even though I do mention meeting him because it was a big highlight, because I tell people on the 8th day God created Paul McCartney, on the 9th day he created Jimmy Page, on the 10th day he created Freddie Mercury, on the 11th day he had to rest again. So that's where it kind of comes with me. So when I met Jimmy, it just developed into this great friendship we have, and it's very private, so I don't really divulge much about it and stuff. But I will tell you, Danny, a funny Jimmy Page story, and I'm sure he won't mind this one. So I always go to London and hang out with Ross and Jimmy, and we go record shopping and eat lunch and coffee and all these things. And at the time I wasn't into vinyl, and I mean, I can show you, because I'm in the middle of moving, I'll show you in a minute some of my vinyl, but I had no vinyl. And Jimmy and Ross kept telling me, Brian, you got to quit listening to these CDs. They don't sound as good. They sound crap. And I went, you guys are nuts. The low end better on the CD. So one night, me and Monique, we went out to dinner with Jimmy. And he said, look, come by the house and we'll go from there. So we go over to his house. It was around Christmas time. And I had brought him a Hofner bass for his birthday. One of my Hofners I'd given to him because he was asking me about one of my Hofner basses. So I gave it to him. And it's great. He still got it and he loves it. And we were sitting in his living room, and he had just a simple stereo system, nothing like, you
would expect.
And he puts on Rock and Roll Johnny Burnett Trio, right? And he puts on the original Train Kept Rolling, the original. And it was just like, oh my God, it's right. This does sound amazing. This sounds so much better. And from that day on, I started collecting vinyl because, he finally convinced me to go back. And I got about 10,000 records. I mean, if you look over here, whoa, hey, hang on. Hey, where'd we go? I lost you guys. Hang on a second.
That's all right. We'll hopefully get you back in a second here.
These phones. There we are. There's boxes of vinyl that's
oh my gosh, look at that.
To go to the New York house. So, I know Danny loves memorabilia because I've been in Danny's house a few times, and I love vinyl.
So, are you telling me you're gonna part with some of that for me, or is that all keepers?
No. Why? What do you want?
I'll let you know.
Do you collect vinyl, Danny?
Oh, you bet.
You got a book?
I've got about, I would say, between 2,000 and 3,000 records.
Yeah. Last I counted.
If you got 10, I mean, you're dusting me way off there.
Yeah.
I love vinyl.
Session.
I love the vinyl.
Yeah, you got a nice system at home?
I do. I'm afraid I don't know the name of the turntable I have, but it was a game changer. When I get home, I'll write it down and text it to you. But it was $800, which was kind of an in betweener. If you go 400, you're just not even getting there.
No.
And I got a great deal. I think it was 1,400 retail, and I got it for $8.
Yeah.
So it's a great unit. And it makes those records sound so beautiful, and I don't know what they're putting in. God,
You put on Abbey Road on vinyl or
oh
Sgt.
boy,
Pepper, and it's
nothing
a
like
game
it.
changer, man. Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh yeah.
How do you like if you listen to the Steven Wilson mixes?
Of what?
Oh, he did Tull. He did Yes. He did Gentle Giant. He did a lot of the.
I mean, I have a lot of Toll and Yes, but I didn't really know who mixed it.
Yeah.
Did he remaster it all?
These are all redos. Yeah. I'm not talking about the originals, but he's from a group called Porcupine. He's from a group called Porcupine Tree.
Oh yeah,
and he's
Porcupine Tree.
You know, and he's kind of like known as this kind of a remixing, redoing guru of these classic records. I think he's done like a dozen or two. You ought to check him out though. He did Chicago, the first Chicago record, unbelievable.
Wow.
And the separation he completed with all that, and you got to have 360 sound. It's like stuff everywhere. It's really cool.
Yeah, I it's funny. I still only listen through two speakers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Tell us about your system, Brian.
Well, I have Macintosh amp and a Macintosh receiver and a Macintosh turntable. And then I have Legacy Focus speakers. I have several sets of speakers, but I have about 3 or 4 different systems because I have a few houses. So in Italy, I have a little system. And in Texas here, I have this massive system, which I'm in the middle of moving. And in New York, I have a pretty nice system as well. And there's vinyl in every place. And that's why I got.
So are you?
I got 4 and 5.
Yeah, you got to have 3 sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 sets, and then if one goes
of
bad,
your favorites anyway.
Yeah, I'm a big collector. I love it. It's better.
So
I used to spend money on cocaine, so at least it's not bad. Right? At least I got something to show for my money.
You got something to show for it, and something to hear.
Yeah.
So have you moved completely out of Sacramento?
Well, I still have my recording studio there, and I still have a small house that I Airbnb. Now, my big house that I had for 30 years, I sold that. And, I never thought I would leave Sacramento, and I left. I left. I moved to Texas, and Texas just doesn't fit. I thought I could do in the middle of nowhere. I thought, well, I'm on tour 6 months a year, and, I could be in the middle of nowhere, and I would enjoy it. And I'm a guy from a town, a city, not a major city, but Sacramento's a big enough city.
Big enough, yeah.
I got to have things to stimulate me. So I'm up here outside of Abilene in a little town called Baird. That's like 800 people with one restaurant and a little store. And it comes with rattlesnakes, which that's not, one killed one of my Jack Russells. So
oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It was over. We've had 7 of them, and now we have 3, and 2 died of natural old age, and Darla, she got killed here, and Monique has never really recovered from it. So at that point, it was like, look, Texas ain't gonna work. And I spent a couple years looking for a place to go that didn't have rattlesnakes, that you could get a good deal on a nice big house. And we settled in Auburn, New York, right outside of Syracuse, up in the Finger Lakes. It's
nice.
Beautiful. You got to come up
gorgeous.
there, Danny.
I would love to. I love upstate New York is amazing.
Yeah.
What a beautiful state. People don't know it. Because all you think
New York is New York City.
Right. Yeah. And there's so much more to New York.
A completely different vibe up in those Finger Lakes. Just all around, it's a completely different vibe. But in answer to your question, I still have the one little house that I Airbnb. So if I need to go do work in the studio or get together with the Tesla guys, rehearse or whatever, and I in Sacramento, I just don't Airbnb that house, and I stay in that one. And that actually has got vinyl in it as well for my Airbnbers. But it's got like a little Crosley record player, you know, just something.
Sure.
Because they'll fuck it up. Hey, guys, come on, out. No. My Jack
Here,
Russell.
Bring them on.
Spanky, Alfalfa, come here. Hey.
That's awesome.
No, they're chasing each other around. So we had Spanky and Darla, Alfalfa, Thelma, and Louise.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I had Bonnie and Clyde. Which
of course.
2 Jack Russells.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't have kids. They're my kids.
They're amazing. Jack Russells are so smart.
And they're just cool dogs, you know.
Yeah.
But,
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we can get back to playing. Have you had a good hot dog lately, Danny?
As a matter of fact, not a bunch, but there's a couple around here that are good. I went to a new place. They, you know, it's they call it the top 5 in the country. This place called Simon's here, and I went, and it was good. You know, but they put stuff on it. They look like pineapple, and you know they had different types of treatments. They're, you know, getting all designer on it. You know, there's a place right down the street from here. Tim, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but didn't I mention the Biltmore to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, over by the golf course, Brian, right down the street. They have one of those little hot dog shacks that golf courses have. And there's always one cuter girl than the next back there making hot dogs. And you can pull your car right up behind the little snack shack, even if you're not playing golf, and you go walk right down and you go in there like you're golfing. And you just order your food and you sit there and you eat and you leave. And that's what I do sometimes. One of the best dogs in the city. We got to do this.
We got to do this.
So
we got to do this.
The bummer is when you called me and you were in Sacramento that day.
Yeah.
It used to be this amazing. Shut up! Knock it off! Be quiet.
This is what's great about this. This is just real life happening right now.
You know, it's like, dude, I want to play with the ball. You know, no, that's it.
It's kind of like De Niro on King of Comedy. Ma, I'm recording.
Right. You know, fuck, I'm trying to do an interview here.
That's fantastic.
Come on, Falsey. Come on. Say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Alfalfa's adorable.
36-pound Jack Russell. He's huge.
Holy cow.
He's massive. Come on, go on. Spanky, come on. Up. Come on. Spanky, come. Spanky, come on. This is OG. This is the king.
Oh,
he's 9.
Look at that guy.
Okay, now go outside. Go see Mom. But this friend of mine was from Chicago. This guy, Mike Brown. He's a true, Chicago guy. And he's made his living making those price tags when you go into Nordstrom's and Macy's and, on the clothes. That's his company. That's what they did. So he had passion. He wanted to open up this hot dog restaurant. And I kind of talked him into it down there in Midtown Sacramento. And he had this place for 4 years. It was called Capital Dog. And he had
like the name.
36 hot dogs, and they were all the traditional ones, the Chicago dog, the chili dog, the LA dog, and all that. And he actually got in the Guinness Book of World Records, I think, in 2005 or something, for selling the most expensive hot dog in America that year. And I went to Sweden and got this moose cheese with him, this gourmet cheese to put on this hot dog. There's a whole big thing about it. But I had wished that when you called, his place was still there, because I think you would have loved it, Danny.
I'm sure I would have.
It wasn't pineapple on a dog. It was like all these classic.
All the right stuff. One thing is a tip for you as well as our listeners out there in Radio Land is a little like a cubed long piece of provolone on the dog instead of dumb cheese like Velveeta or cheddar. Forget that stuff. Or melted cheese. I like a good melted cheese dog every now and again. But this was like a cold slab in there with the just the traditional mustard, onion, tad of relish, and the celery salt spray on top with the sport peppers. That's how you make a dog. It was a place in Chicago that is called Paul's Umbrella, which was a legendary. Tui in California, Tim.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's that place they have in Chicago now that's always like a chain with all them dogs?
Portillo's.
Portillo's, yeah. I went there. It was okay.
Yeah, they do an adequate corporate job for the dogs. They're very good in a pinch, and they're usually around. But I'll take Al's in Chicago for dogs or beefs anytime.
Oh, for beef,
yeah,
absolutely.
There's a little place out by Wrigley I like. I can't really remember the name of it.
There's an Al's right near Wrigley.
That might be.
Could have been Al's, yeah.
And there's another one called Johnny's for Italian beef that I haven't been to, but I just saw a very incredible post, very boisterous, bragging post about how it beats everybody in Chicago, and I've never been there, but I have heard about this place, and it's legendary.
So, Danny,
yeah.
Remember we had a bet a few years ago?
I was going to bring it up today.
I don't want to talk about what we bet on because that's not the issue.
So Tim,
the issue is I think what should happen.
What do you want to do?
Is me, you, and Leslie and Monique should go to Chicago for a weekend.
Okay.
That's the point.
All right,
when do you want to do it?
But since I don't know what
I got to have this hernia surgery, and after that it'd be good. But we were thinking. Me and Danny had a bet, and we bet
whoever won the bet. It was a weekend for us and our wives on the other guy, whoever lost, and I have not forgotten that.
Right. So it's been 5 years or whatever, and we've never been able to do it. But now talking about Chicago, I'm thinking, well, we should meet up in Chicago and do a hot dog tour.
So Brian, did you win the bet?
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Did you win the bet?
That time.
Okay, and what was the bet?
It's not important.
It's important to the audience.
No, it's not. It's not because it's
okay.
It was a personal bet.
Okay, fair enough.
And I won that time, and if he were to bet this time, he would have won. So you read between the lines.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey now.
But it just goes to show you that you can still be friends no matter what your differences are.
No question, but I'm dying for this weekend. We got to do it, and I'd rather do it.
Talking about, there's also I heard about this great pizza place in Chicago that makes pizza kind of like a pot pie.
Oh, you mean Dues or Unos?
No.
No,
Brian, I think I know what you're talking about. I have
to
it's in a bowl. It's in like a dish with a pie crust on top of it.
Yeah, it's on the north side. I forget the name of it, and I've never had it.
Everyone says it's like one of those places you need to go.
Yep.
So I think, Danny, we did hot dogs.
We'll go there.
And beef, and then we did pizza the other day. And we just have, Chicago is a great city. I got to tell you, it's probably my favorite city in America.
Really?
After all these years of touring all over the world. I mean, look, I like touring Europe because it's old and there's all this history. But in America, probably my favorite city to go to is Chicago. I love Chicago.
I love going to Chicago too. You know what I love most about Chicago? I get to leave. And I say that because I was there a couple of weeks ago and it was like 20 degrees. And as much as I love it there, it's this December through April Fool's Day. Like those 4 months are equivalent to what we have in Arizona, which is basically Memorial Day to Labor Day, where it's kind of the hot zone where you want to stay away from it. It's actually after Labor Day. It's mid-June here to mid-September. Is really where it gets toasty.
But as a fellow,
funny thing.
I'll take the toast anytime to the cold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the funny thing about it was I left New York for the Texas house thinking it was going to be a warm winter here.
Oh, you got clobbered.
We were in that blizzard thing.
You got clobbered.
We got clobbered, man. It was 4 below zero here in Baird, and it was 28 in Auburn, New York. And
Did you guys lose your power?
Yes, and water.
Oh my God! You didn't do any pipes bust, or did you keep that from happening?
No, because this house that I'm in here is brand new. I built it. I bought this old Victorian on some land, and then I started building a compound. So I sold the front half of the property last year, which was an 1890 Victorian with a garage and apartment above, next to it. And then it's like 3 acres. So I split it into half. And in the back half, I had already started a guest house, a workshop, a little recording studio, which is now going to be a studio apartment. And it's all brand new. So, and I had all that foam insulation that they spray.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the frozen pipes. My brother did, because he lives in the apartment above the garage. He still lives on the other piece of the property. The people who bought it let him stay. And, he had no power and no water. So he was over here, showering and stuff. So we didn't really actually lose the water. We lost the power.
But power is, that's your heat. When it's 4 below, that matters.
Yeah. Well, luckily enough, like I said, this building is so insulated. We were okay. And it was only for a couple hours that we lost it.
Oh,
now, there are other people here that lost it for days.
Yeah, that foam insulation, though, is a game changer. We have it in our house.
I'm telling you, man, it is a game changer.
Keeps the heat out, too, when you live in the desert.
Yeah. This building stays really kind of mellow, whether it's hot or cold. So, but Chicago it is, Danny. We'll do that.
I'm ready. I'm thinking right now that we have probably a few more months to get ready for going back to reality. I'm been more than ready for a lot of months, but I'm feeling like somewhere in August, maybe Labor Day. I think that's the time.
Yeah, you mean for the trip or to actually go back to normal?
To go back to normal, or at least begin.
I was talking
at least
Adam
begin
the other day.
Yesterday,
and he was kind of saying the same thing. He said, August, September.
The smaller groups, the ones that don't require staffing and big rehearsal and all that kind of stuff. I think they need, from the time they know that it's going to be okay for sure, they need a month to 6 weeks no matter what. And you got all the halls that have been closed all this time that need to rehire and clean up and make sure everything's cool. And, there's a lot of stuff that goes on to make a show happen regardless. But, boy, go shut down the halls for a year and all the employees and everybody. You got to bring it all back. It's like starting over. And it's not easy. It's a very difficult job doing that.
Yeah, no, I know. And, I can't wait to get back, to work. For a band like Tesla, we're not in that upper echelon of bands like Leopard and Motley. And, we're kind of in that B level of bands. And, it's really how we make our living. So it's not like we have millions in the bank that we can just, we'll take 2 years off. It's no big deal. It kind of kicks us in the ass a little bit.
Big time.
Sure.
So, but on top of that, I just miss the interaction of playing with people and feeling like I have a purpose because, when you don't do anything else, you're like, what do I do? A lot of people
write a book.
Well, they said, did you write this book during COVID? And the answer is no. I started 8 years ago.
Yeah, me too.
So it just happened that by the time COVID hit, I was on my cover and, what pictures were going to be in there and stuff. So I wasn't able to, it pushed the release back. But I didn't write it during the COVID thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, did you go out and take more pictures and do any more enhanced photography during the pandemic?
Yeah, I did. I did a bit of it in New York, upstate, because in the summer it was really nice. So I went around the Finger Lakes and took some stuff, but we weren't really able to travel. And my whole thing is I want to go to weird places like Egypt or, Iran or, Burma, places like that and take pictures that people can't go to. India, I was going to go to India this year and back to Vietnam. And so I didn't have a lot of stuff to really shoot, but the Finger Lakes were pretty. So that was nice. And I got some of the fall there with the changing of the leaves, which is really nice. And I got some of that stuff. But really, I just kind of been sitting around and mixing a couple of records, producing young bands, because I got a company that kind of tries to develop young bands and stuff. So I've been doing that. That's been keeping me a little bit sane. But
any of that stuff up? I was going to say, any of that stuff up on Spotify now that we could listen to?
Yeah, there's a band out of England called Flash Fires. There's another band out of Michigan called Chase Ingle and the Night Shift. You know, they're just young bands just getting started. And, you know, the one band, Chase Ingle, I had on tour with Buck Cherry doing a bunch of dates, and they were kicking butt. And then it just all came to a stop. And
shut down, yeah.
So, you know, they're like, what do we do? Well, let's go in the studio. I mean, you need to make, you know, young bands need to keep making music. You know, this whole business is so crazy today. Is when me and Danny started, you actually sold records and people bought them and cherished them. And today music is so like, you know, it's more about the live performance. I think
it's a different app on your phone.
Yeah. No,
it's just like, who'd have thought that's how we, you know, here I am talking about this Macintosh beautiful system. I'm listening to Sgt. Pepper, mono, first pressings, and then, you know, everyone's listening to my shit on a fucking iPhone.
I know.
Right?
It's like, go figure. But
Brian,
we can play live, so that's the thing, you know. And you got to be good live. If you ain't good live, forget it.
That's it.
And that's I tell all the young bands I have. You know, if you can't play, get into real
start. That's right.
Well, you'll be proud. You'll be happy to know that I'm sure you're aware that vinyl has made a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And I have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old in this house, and we've got 3 turntables, and my family spends a fair amount of their luxury cash on vinyl, and they love it.
They listen to rock music, or what are they listening to?
Some, but they actually like a lot of hip hop.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can still sell records in hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, country actually, believe it or not. How about Paul McCartney? You know, 78 years old and a #1 album last 2 months ago.
Isn't that amazing?
Who'd have thought that this dude at 78 would still be cranking out #1 albums?
And just, you know, as sharp and as with it and as, you know, spry as he's ever been too.
Yeah, the only bummer about all that is he had a #1 record with 36,000 records sold. And
is that all he ended up?
One record he had sold 3 million. So
yeah,
was that all it sold?
Yeah. The first week I think it scanned 36 or 37,000 copies, and that equated to a #1 album. You know, in America on Billboard top whatever albums. You know. But God bless him. It's still all relative because no one else had a #1 record that week.
Right.
And this guy's 78 years old. Who'd have thought, you know?
Gotta love him.
You gotta love him. You know,
gotta love him.
I mean, you just gotta love the guy. He just oozes with like energy.
And confidence.
He oozes with Hofnerisms.
Yeah. You know, he's just, I don't know. I don't think he's from this planet.
I would agree with you. I would agree. So, by the way, your Hofner, do you play flat wound?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to, right, on a Hofner?
Yeah. You don't put round wound strings on them.
Yeah.
And you know, I play a Hofner because of Paul McCartney, and I play a Gibson Thunderbird because of Pete Way and UFO, and those were the two guys. When I was a kid, you know, it was Wings and, you know, talk about it, you know, Wings and UFO. that was what I was into when I was 15 years old, and then I discovered Led Zeppelin and Queen, and it was all over after that. But Yeah, I always play with flat wounds. It's a different
How?
art though to play in that bass.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't play
talk
it
about
like you
that.
do a Fender or a Gibson bass. You have to play it with a much lighter touch.
Is that it? I mean, is that just the pickups, or what is the
Well,
reason
it's a
for that?
very light bass. It's like
Yeah,
it's hollow. You know,
right,
it might weigh
right.
3 pounds max. It's very
Yeah,
light. So you can't grind on it like you do with a Thunderbird, you know. This is a very, you gotta, it's like making love to a woman. You gotta finesse it.
that's there you go. Hey now.
This is the
Sex
bullshit.
tips with Brian Wheat. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
Brian, when everything opens back up again, hi guys. Hi,
Yeah.
is that Alfalfa?
No, it's Spanky's Jason.
Hi, Spank.
Go on. Go out. Now.
So when everything when everything opens back up again, before you guys hit the road and tour, there's going to be some time to probably do a little vacationing and getting out and seeing places. You and Danny are both world travelers. Besides, Tuscany, where you have a home, where are your other favorite places to go?
I like going to Tuscany just to chill out. If it's traveling, I want to go someplace that's kind of, off the beaten path, where you're not supposed to go. Like I went into Miramar like 7 years ago. I was there before President Obama and all that. And, I snuck into Cuba about 10 years ago.
How was that?
That was, there's a lot of beautiful buildings in that country. And I love architecture.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, all the people that worked for the state had them or whatever, right?
Right.
It was weird because they have two sets of currency. They have the peso for the Cuban citizens, and then they have the peso for the tourists, which is worth 30 times more. So you could hire a Cuban national to take you around Havana or whatever for like $40 a day, and it was like a month, 2 months pay for him. And that's good, but it's also kind of sad that they had two sets of markets. They had a market with all these nice vegetables, and that's where the tourists would shop. And then a market with all these kind of half-rotten vegetables, and that's where the Cuban people had to buy. And they can't go in certain restaurants and stuff. Now, mind you, that was 10 years ago. So I don't know if it's changed or if it's lightened up or what's happening since then. But I wanted to go see what the real Cuba was like under Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Before they opened it up and turned it into Las Vegas or Disneyland or, whatever.
Which is coming at some point, right?
Yeah. But I got to say the people were beautiful. And they would just invite you in their house off the street. It was me, my wife Monique, and our buddy Peter, and we just walked. And obviously, they knew we were, Americans or whatever. And they're like, "Hey, come in. You want to have a cup of coffee?" Like, yeah, sure.
That's so great.
Hospital people, it was great. It was great, and it's a beautiful island. They have a lot of beautiful buildings and stuff, but a lot of it looks like it stopped in 58?
Right.
Like they just cut everything off. The furniture is the same, the light switches, everything, right? It's like, woo! The fountains didn't have water in them, stuff like that. We stayed at Meyer Lansky's hotel, the hotel he had. We couldn't get in the National or whatever it was. But it was cool, and the food's amazing, and there's like all this beautiful music around, and the people are happy. You see them on the street, they're happy people. They got a lot of them don't have anything, but they're happy. Just shows you how fortunate we are here in America, because you don't see that kind of stuff here that you see over there. And
but it's interesting though. We don't see as. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like to go to India. I want to check out India. Vietnam was really cool. Have you ever been to Hanoi,
I hear it's
Danny?
Great.
No, never been.
Oh man, you would love it. You should take a trip.
Yeah,
it's pretty badass. The funny
I've got
thing
a couple. I have friends that have been there like yourself, and nobody says anything bad about it there. They love it.
You know, you go to this country and it's supposed to be under communist rule, right? But then you have Versace and, you know, Tesla cars and all this stuff being sold all over the place. And you're going, wait a minute, where's this communist thing they're talking about? You know, so it's kind of a weird trip.
Sort of a dichotomy.
Yeah, you're going, well, on one hand, you know, and at first I went to Ho Chi Minh City, which was Saigon. And then the second time I went to Hanoi and Da Nang and up there. And I think Hanoi is just amazing. Anyone that ever gets a chance to go to Hanoi should go to Hanoi. It's very cool. But,
I've heard good things.
I want to go to Russia. It's on my list. I want to go to Croatia. You know, I like a lot of the European countries.
Me too.
And, you know, some of Asia. I've been to Thailand several times. That's you know, great if you want a nice vacation in the winter with a lot of sun and a pool and not very expensive and great food. I like going places where there's, you know, food and culture and some art, nice buildings or temples or something. You know, just try to take as much in while you're on this planet as you can, right?
Amen, Brian.
There's
Amen.
a lot of greatness out there. I'm with you. I love all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm not one of those guys that goes, you know, the world's fucked. You know,
right.
I'm trying to see that the glass is half full.
No,
I'm
we're
with
gonna
you.
get Chicago. We're gonna have Chicago back.
Yeah, man. That's it. Let's go during baseball season. See
Yep.
a Cubs game.
Absolutely.
Go see a Cubs game.
I'm with you.
You're
We'll
a man
do
after
that.
my own heart. As a fellow Chicagoan and diehard Cub fan, that's the way to go.
Hang on a second, guys. Come on. Ow. Ow.
Again, Danny, this is just real life happening right here.
You're Fido.
Yeah, man. They, you know, I'm in my theater, and they run around like, you know, hey, dude, what's
They
up?
own the place.
Yeah, well, they do own the place. I'm guest in their house.
Yeah.
So Danny, how's your wife?
The wife is good. She knew I was talking to you today. She said hello, and you know, I find it so funny that we both have books out at the same time, and I ended up hiring your PR guy.
Oh, Chip.
Yeah,
He's done an excellent job for me. I've had him on now for 3 months, and I'm doing 4 or 5 interviews a day on the weekend.
Yeah, he's got me 5 interviews, 6 interviews back to back, starting at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah. See, I
He
don't
goes,
start me till 11. I'm like, look, dude,
Well,
I'm up all night.
I'm going to go out.
I got your book. And
did you get it?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. And I've been looking for it because we were packing, and because we're going to sell this place April 1st, and we got to get out of here. And I had it up here, and I don't know where Monique put it. But I started going through it, man. You got a lot of pictures. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because there's so many and that, but it came out good, I thought.
Yeah, no, I want to sit down and actually read it, which is not something I do very much. It's funny for a guy that like put out a book. I don't read books, and I have lots of books.
I don't either.
I pick the things I want to read about. Right?
I don't have that like capacity to be dealing with everything that I deal with every day. Oh, I'm going to stop and turn everything off for a few hours and read for a while. It just doesn't work that way for me.
No. You know, I just got another book. I got this book about Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali's relationship because I thought that was a great love affair, those two, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I won't read the book. I just got the book because
you had to get it.
It's cool.
It's cool. I have a nice library with a lot of cool books in it. And, you know, I look at the pictures and there are things, you know, I have read a few books in my life, but I think I have a bit of like, it's hard for me, especially now, Danny. I'm doing the audio version of this book, and they got me in the studio in Dallas. I got to go Monday and Tuesday and finish up actually reading the book. Oh man, I suck.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's
I'm gonna-
very hard.
I'm going to
But,
get it on Audible when it comes out.
What's that?
I said I'm going to pick it up on Audible when it comes out.
Yeah, it'll be good because it the book is me. It's written in my voice, so
It's great.
it's just like right now we're just telling stories and shooting the shit, and that's kind of what the book's about. So, Danny, how long has Chip been on the case now?
Just a week or two.
Okay, yeah, he'll do a great job.
He's winding up.
Yeah, cool. How's Hawaii?
I'll let you know next week.
Yeah, I was just on the phone with Dave Mason the other day.
Yeah, I'll be seeing him. He lives near Shep, but we're going to go on next Wednesday and for a couple of weeks. This will be our third time since they opened it back up again in October.
Yeah. So, I'll let you in. Us and Dave are going to do some recording together.
Excellent. He has so many great songs.
We're talking about, and you should maybe be one of the guys. Dave said, Brian, we should go out and do about 6 or 8 shows together. Dave Mason with Tesla.
There you go.
Okay.
I said, well, let me run it past the guys. And they went, yeah, we'd love to do that. So I think at some point, I mean, obviously, when the timing's right, we'll go out and do a half a dozen shows with Tesla and Dave Mason. And we'll need a keyboard player and play Dave Mason, Traffic songs, and Tesla songs all together. So I developed a pretty cool relationship with Dave. He's a pretty cool guy, but he's there in Hawaii, so I always think of you when I think of Dave because you guys are on the same island, right?
Yep, same place.
I've never been to Hawaii.
Get out.
I've landed there one time when Tesla first started. Before we were Tesla, we went to Guam. And we played for 3 months on, for the Air Force Base people. And we stopped San Francisco, Honolulu to Guam. And I've never been to Hawaii. I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
Just never been. And
Danny needs to lose another bet to you and bring you to Hana.
No, I don't.
He don't.
I don't want to lose no more bets.
But I have to get over there because I know people over there. You, Dave, Monique's got an uncle that's over there that has a nice motorcycle. He rides around the island all the time.
Come on over.
Yeah, I just never been there. What's a good time of the year to go over there?
Anytime's good, but I prefer it when it's not in the depth of the summer. It can get very hot there and humid. I would skip July, August, but any other time. But anytime you can go, it's great. The worst day in Hawaii is better than the best in many others.
Is there good food in Hawaii?
Good food in Hawaii. You can get it anywhere.
Good.
Yeah.
Fresh fish.
Danny, we ought to do a TV show, me and you, man.
Let's go.
Well, since, we don't have Anthony Bourdain anymore, no one's doing that.
Right?
Good point.
I loved his show.
I did too.
I mean, I always wanted to meet that guy. I thought he was so cool.
Nice guy. Very nice guy. We did a show in Hawaii with him. One of the last shows that he recorded was at Shep's house.
Yeah, and we don't have him anymore. No one's doing a show like that. Because he will take you to places that you never go.
Have you seen the Stanley Tucci show on CNN?
I've heard about that.
You'll like that because of the
Italy.
The Italy thing.
Told me about that.
He's very good. You just set it on record on your DVR.
I have to give that one a watch. I can watch things on Italy all day long.
Well, you'll love this then.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Brian, how long? You got to go?
Anything else you want to wrap about?
I'm happy. I enjoyed this hour, and I think the fans will too.
Yeah, Danny, good luck with that book. If there's anything I can do to help you.
Well, you already have by turning me onto your PR guy. I appreciate that. I'd love for you to find it and look at it. That'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I had it. I had it here the other day, and you can see everything's in boxes. So Monique, while I was in Sacramento producing a band, she said, "Well, I'm going to start taking apart the theater and boxing your records and stuff up, and it's all media in here, books, records, whatever." And she, I mean, here, let me she she put it somewhere. Hey, I went upside down. There I am. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. And Danny, I hope to see you soon.
We will, as soon as we humanly can. I mean, if you find yourself ahead of time, a couple 3 weeks with the weekend open, feel free to drop the suggestion, because I'm just looking for stuff to do too. I'm busy and I'm not busy, but I'm really busy right now with all this.
Yeah, no, I got you. I know the.
But I'd love to do something with you.
Well, we'll get together this year and do this for sure.
And we got some concerts to book
and
too.
We got some shows we got to do, right?
Yep.
All right, guys. You take it
Brian,
easy.
nice to meet you, buddy.
God bless.
All right, buddy. Same to you. Good to see you, brother.
Cheers.